what's involved in getting your motorhome ready for winter? It's a question we often get asked. With our fleet here, we have a number of them that come off hire through the winter, and we get them ready for the cold weather. And we're going to show you very quickly what we do to get our motorhomes ready for this colder time of year. So one of the first things we suggest, and this might sound a bit daft, but is give it a wash. Why? Well, putting it away clean, you can give it a wax as well, will help keep bird lime and dirt. If we get dusty rain, it's going to wash off much easier come the spring, or if you wash it during the winter. We also suggest you check the tyre pressures, check they're running at the right pressure, and then you can check them again through the winter to check no air is getting out, i.e. a puncture. We also choose to leave the fuel tank full of diesel. Why do we do that? Well, this stops moisture forming in the top of the fuel tank and therefore getting water in your fuel. Maybe your motorhome has got an awning on the side, like this one. Well, our suggestion is you open it and give it a wash with a sponge and warm soapy water, or carefully use the pressure washer, allow it to fully dry and then put it away. So it's really important to empty all of the water out of the motorhome. This includes the grey tank and the fresh tank, so just open your grey tap and leave it open. Leaving gas bottles in your motorhome during the winter isn't really a problem, especially if they are red LPG bottles, because they have a very, very low freezing point. But our suggestion is you turn them off and consider disconnecting them from the main gas feed as well. Taking care of your toilet cassette is also really important. Certainly you're going to need to empty it of water, so you might want to consider taking it out, putting it perhaps in your garage at home where it's going to stay warm and not get frost damaged. What we do here is we take the toilet cassettes out and put them in a container where they're kept away from frost, leaving the chamber empty for the winter. Emptying the fresh water from the cold tank is of course really important. This particular motorhome has a drain tap that looks like a Mercedes logo on the top, and just unscrew it and you can, once it goes clunk, stop, and the water is now draining out the bottom of the tap, or the tank I should say. Yours may have a plug that you need to pull out inside the tap, or it may have a drain tap that empties the tank. However your motorhome is designed, really important that you empty all the fresh water out of it. And then really important you run the taps. I run the taps until absolutely no water is coming out of them. Once the dribble stops, then turn the pump off. There we go, we're getting some water coming out of the system now. Once that stops, we're going to turn the pump off, and this is the key bit, is you leave the tap open. This allows water that is stuck in the tap to expand and move up the tap and come out of the end of the tap, pushing the air out of the end. If you leave the tap closed, this won't happen and the tap could literally explode. And we're going to do the same with the bathroom tap. This one, the bathroom tap, is also the shower head. But what we're going to do with the shower head is we're going to lower it down onto the floor, allowing water to drain using gravity into the plug on the floor. And again, we're going to leave the bathroom tap open. If you haven't removed your toilet cassette from the motorhome, then we suggest just cracking it open, the blade a little bit, so air can escape out of the toilet cassette and expand as it freezes. Now you may have heard about the frost valve. Now on this motorhome it has a Truma frost valve facility. This will pop and drain the hot water boiler automatically if the motorhome gets to below 5 degrees. You may choose to pop it manually, and I'll show you exactly what to do. If your motorhome doesn't have a frost valve, it will likely have a tap that you push down, and that will drain the water from the motorhome. But check your user manual and you'll be able to see what to do. Let me show you how this frost valve works. This is the blue button that will pop out when it gets to below 5 degrees. The tap on the top will enable us to manually pop the button like so. The button's now out and the water that's in the boiler is now draining onto the ground underneath. Now this button now won't go back in. To get the button to go back in, you twist the tap at 90 degrees and now the button will go back in. If it were below 5 degrees in here, the button is just going to pop straight back out. So two things to do to get the button to reset. Turn the tap so the button can go back in, and make sure that the motorhome is above 5 degrees. So right now we're going to prepare it for winter, and we are going to manually pop the button. I'll turn the tap back around so we can push the button back in. Now if you've got inline filters between the pump, the tank and your taps, then it's definitely worth removing them to stop them suffering from frost damage as well. This motorhome has a tall, slimline Thetford fridge with a freezer in it as well. Really important you vent the fridge. That means leaving the door open. You could literally leave the door open like so, but all fridges have the ability, some sort of catch that enables you to leave the door propped open. This one has a little blue catch like so. Click the door shut. The fridge can now breathe and it won't go mouldy. Another great idea is to aid ventilation by leaving cupboard doors open. Remember to remove all foodstuffs, anything in a sealed container. This is just some tea, coffee and sugar. The sugar's going to go hard through the winter, so you may want to bring that back into the house, but remove any loose food items from within the cupboards. If your motorhome features a very recent trend of a drop-down bed, then we suggest that you do pull it down from the ceiling and let it rest so that there is space again to allow ventilation. We also suggest that you raise your mattress. Now this motorhome has a mattress protector on. We would remove this and take this into the warm. If you've got somewhere for the mattress to go in the house, that's definitely a good idea. If you haven't, then one suggestion we have is to take the ladder and prop it under the mattress, allowing the mattress to raise, and this will hold it up, something like that. But certainly raise the mattress and let air get underneath it. That's the key. It's all about letting the air move around inside the motorhome. It's certainly also worth just frankly making a mess of your cushions, but raising them again so air can get around them. Our suggestion is that once a month or something of that sort of frequency, you rotate them, allowing them to change position. I also suggest you do the same with the bed mattress. Again, prop it up so that air can get in and around the mattress, keeping it fresh and free from mould. Hopefully your motorhome is fitted with a smoke and CO alarm. Our suggestion is during the winter you're not going to need them. Just simply remove the battery. You can leave the battery in the motorhome, that's fine, but just remove it in case it goes off accidentally. Lots of people take the decision to close their blackout or night blind during the winter and whilst not using the motorhome. It's fine, but the risk is you'll notice that the blind springs back into this carousel, and leaving it closed all winter simply stretches the spring in here, so it may not spring back quite as it used to. If you want to stop people looking into the motorhome, a really simple idea is some sheets of newspaper or plain paper and just attach them to the window so people can't see in. So if your motorhome is going into storage where there's no provision to hook it up, and you're not planning to go and start it regularly, and therefore keeping a charge in your engine battery and your leisure battery, then it's worth considering disconnecting the leisure battery and possibly the starter battery too. Our suggestion is once a month to hook the motorhome up, get the heating on and get some warm air into the vehicle. This is going to help move the air around, then open the windows and close them, stops the rubbers sticking to the plastic of the window itself and enables the air to all move around, helping ventilation through the motorhome. But to disconnect the leisure battery, you may need a small ring spanner. On this one, it's dead easy. You simply unclip and put it off. We talk a lot about ventilation and letting materials in the motorhome breathe through the winter. If you've got curtains, don't keep them filled up. Our advice is to unfill them, and if you want to popper them, these have a popper system and they popper around the windscreen like so. So this achieves two things: it lets the curtain breathe and also stops people seeing in the motorhome. To aid air getting around the motorhome, a little thing to remember is to leave your cab vents open, allowing air to come through and again aiding ventilation. A major concern of many motorhome owners are rats and rodents getting into the vehicle and doing untold damage. They often climb up seatbelt mounts and they can gnaw their way through the seatbelts and through wiring looms and so on. So the important thing is to know if you have had mice in the vehicle. Our top tip is to leave a little piece of chocolate on the floor. This won't attract them in, but if they do come in, they are going to be attracted to it. If there are teeth marks in it when you come back to the vehicle, you know you have had mice in the vehicle. You can then investigate what other damage may have been caused. We call it the chocolate test. The other great way, of course, to protect your motorhome during the winter is to keep using it. And why not? There's lots of campsites open through the winter. There's lots of details of those on our blog. Hopefully you found this guide useful, a walk around of how we get our fleet ready for the colder weather. You can download the guide on our website for free. It's our little ebook, Preparing Your Motorhome or Caravan for Winter. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.